Awesome. So I'm Marc Sklar, the fertility expert, I should say, and I'm here with Nicole Jardim. Did I pronounce that correct?
You did, yes.
Awesome. So Nicole does a lot of work with hormones and women's health. And my assistant, Anna, was telling me that you tend to specialize a little bit more with younger women and their hormones. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I do, yeah. I work with women in their teens, 20s, and 30s. I really think that we need to empower and educate young women around how their bodies function. I mean, I feel like I've been put on this earth to do this work just because we don't know what's going on in there, and we're perpetually afraid of it, I think. And so I really want to help this generation of women understand what's going on in their bodies so that they can make better decisions.
That's great. I feel the same way. It's amazing to me how many times I speak to someone in the practice and they say, well, I never knew that about my body or my menstrual cycle or my reproductive organs. And it just shows me how deficient we are at least I'll speak for the United States, as a country in educating probably both men and women, but specifically in this case, women, about their hormones, their bodies, and what it's supposed to be doing naturally and what it's not doing potentially. So I agree 100% with your passion.
Thank you. I know, I figured you probably did. Seriously though, we have our work cut out for us.
We do. So how'd you get involved in this kind of work, or why are you so passionate about it?
I really struggled when I was younger. In my teens, I had so many period problems. I had no idea what to do. And eventually the doctor was like, well, you should just go on the pill. That'll solve all of your problems.
Oh,
and,
of course.
Yeah, I know, right? Of course. Solution.
It's a magic pill.
I know, exactly. It is. And so that's what I did. And I felt like I went from one raging hormonal imbalance to another, where I was completely deficient in everything by the time I was in my early 20s. And so when I came off the pill, it took me a while to get my period back. It took me ages to regulate my cycle again. And then I had all these other health problems, like serious joint pain, all kinds of issues that were brought on by the fact that my hormones were now non-existent because of the pill usage. And it took me a long time to try and figure out what to do. And if I'd had somebody guiding me, I feel like it would have changed a lot of things. And so that was where this kind of stemmed from. And then I ended up going to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition in New York. And then I did a lot more training around women's hormonal health, obviously, because this is kind of a complex subject. And that was really where it all came from. But I just knew when I started learning about hormones that this was where I was meant to be.
That's great. So you're a nutritionist then?
Yes. Well, a health coach.
Nutrition.
Nutrition. Yeah, nutritionist.
Excellent.
I don't think I'm allowed to say that in some states.
That's okay. You don't live in all states.
True. Very true.
And that's great. I think the work you're doing will make my life with my patients a lot easier by the time they get to me. Speed up the process of helping them get pregnant.
Yeah, for real. I feel like I work in conjunction with a lot of acupuncturists because our work really does go hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Patients always come in and say, so what do you do? Or you're just an acupuncturist. They kind of say just an acupuncturist, right? But I tell them, no, we do a lot more than that. And for me, nutrition is essential and foundational work that all patients need to be doing, along with lifestyle management and stress, as you know. So really controlling all of those things are essential. And without those things, the acupuncture or the herbs aren't as effective, or really can't get the results that we hope to get. So.
Yeah, there's no doubt, right? I know. Everything. They really do. I know. They work like a little bit of a puzzle coming together.
So what areas of a menstrual cycle or women's health do you tend to focus on?
I have a couple of niche areas that I focus on. So basically, right now, I'm really focusing on amenorrhea, which is a lack of a period, and irregular periods or just really light periods. And for me, I feel like I have been bombarded by women, thousands at this point in the last couple of years, who are struggling with these conditions, and most of the time it's brought on by the use of hormonal birth control, and then usually that in combination with eating issues or disordered eating, as well as low body weight or low body fat. And I just really feel like this is it's almost like an epidemic as far as I'm concerned. And I really feel the need to educate women around this and what is going on and what they can start to do about it, because so many of them are saying that they're just not getting the answers they want. And they're also being told that, they should just go back on the birth control pill, which yeah, I know, right? I mean, seriously. So it really is frustrating, because they're not getting solutions to the root cause of the problem. So that's one area of my focus. And then the other area is mostly around PMS and painful periods. And of course, there are a bazillion PMS symptoms. So I cover all of that under that umbrella, as well as painful periods, which, I guess can stem into endometriosis and things like that, and PCOS. So I really feel like those are the two areas that I cover, because there really isn't anybody specifically focusing on those conditions.
That's great. It's interesting, because when I see women who have irregular cycles or no periods at all, and they're coming in to try to get pregnant on our end, they say, well, my OBGYN just said, I'm going to put you on the pill, or I'm going to start you on Clomid to induce ovulation. Like, well, it's not really fixing the problem. If the pill was fixing the problem, you wouldn't be in my office. So it's a Band-Aid, if that, and in many cases, probably just causing more problems. So it's hard to get patients initially to kind of switch off of that, because we want to change the root issues so they don't have to deal with this. Like, sure, Clomid might help them get pregnant once, but it's not really taking care of the issue.
Right. What are your hormones going to look like after your pregnancy? I mean, that's the other thing to think about too. Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously. And then when you say PMS and dysmenorrhea or painful periods, I have when I describe to women the ideal menstrual cycle, and I tell them that it should not include PMS or pain with your period, this, face this of astonishment is always in front of me sitting there. What do you mean I'm not? I thought that was normal. I have to try to differentiate common from normal. And just because things are common doesn't necessarily make them normal for us, or something that we have to deal with. So I really admire the work you're doing, because I think it would save a lot of heartache and problems in the future. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Yeah, I agree. Isn't it incredible? I think women, we've just come to the realization collectively that this is our lot in life, and we just have to put up with it. And because apparently when you're a woman, you should have to live in pain and deal with crazy emotional and physical symptoms. It's bizarre. I mean, I feel like we almost feel as if we have to be medicated in some way just to get through life. And I mean, that to me is the premise of the birth control pill, at least for the many millions of women using it for reasons other than birth control. Sure.
Well, and even then, I'd like to think there's other ways around birth control without having to take, it takes a little bit more effort probably, but
I teach that too. I'm a huge proponent of that, obviously, of natural birth control. So yes, take some effort, but it's so worth it in the long run.
Yeah, it's not changing the biochemistry of your body, so.
Yes, precisely. True that.
So, I know that periodically you come out with programs to help women take control of their bodies and their menstrual cycles and so forth. And you've got one coming out today or very soon, right?
Yeah, I do actually. Yes, it's happening. It's called Bring Back Your Period and Regulate Your Cycle. And it's a 3-month program where I am just showing women the step-by-step process that they need to follow in order to bring back a regular menstrual cycle or create irregular menstrual cycle if their periods are irregular. And it's just something that I've been working on for ages and ages, like years at this point, and sort of formulating a plan for people, because there are so many contributing factors to this. So I think women need to, again, come from a place of wanting to understand what exactly is going on in their bodies. Because for me, that was the biggest thing. I mean, I felt like I was completely in the dark about it for so long. And as a result, I was afraid of what was going on in there. So I just ignored it completely, because that's what we tend to do.
Yeah.
And then so I created a program where people will understand what's going on and then be able to take steps to actually fix the underlying core issues, which are these hormonal imbalances and why they're happening and what we can do about them. So I'm very excited about that.
That's great. And in the program, do you talk about, it seemed like you said that, but why they're in this situation to begin with?
Yeah, in fact, I have a 3-part video series that's a lead up to the program that people can take a look at, so that they can understand, why, all the different reasons why amenorrhea happens, or oligomenorrhea, which is actually irregular periods. And so I break down everything. I mean, it comes from hormonal birth control, obviously, a lot of different lifestyle factors, things like exercise and diet and all that kind of stuff. So when women understand that these could potentially be the reasons why, then they can move on to potential solutions. So I definitely do a great intro of what is going on and why it's happening for women, as well as debunking the myths around their period, as well as what the solutions are, because as we were talking about, the common solutions are progesterone shots, birth control pills, Clomid, potential IVF, all of these kinds of things. And so I think to me, it should be the most satisfying thing for a woman to be able to get back control of her hormones and have a regular cycle, be fertile naturally, all of these things that they're being told continually that is not possible.
That's great. I know, in the practice, I think two big things for me that I see often are stress and how much of a contributing factor that is, but also thyroid disorders and how much it affects menstrual cycles, but also how much it affects the ability to get pregnant, maintain a pregnancy, have a healthy pregnancy, and so forth. So I imagine you're talking about those two things as well. But the one thing that is always interesting to me that I find where patients start to have irregular cycles or no cycles at all is where it all happens in their mid to late teens, as they're in high school, they're becoming more active, hormones are shifting, and that I find that combination between dietary irregularities, usually the real upswing of exercise because they're playing soccer or whatever it might be, and that hormonal shift just triggers the endocrine system, and it's like they lose their menstrual cycle.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, that's why I was saying, I really like to help women who are younger, just because that is, to me, essentially the problem. I mean, so many of these girls they have all of these things happen. It's almost like a triad of things. Like there's the dietary aspect of it, there's the birth control, and then there is the exercise or potential over exercising. And I just have found that so many of them there are a little bit of irregularity. There are little irregularities, and then suddenly they're just put on the pill to, quote unquote, regulate their cycle. And then that imbalance just stays with them through their 20s and into their 30s until they come off and they decide they want to have a baby. And I know you probably see that every single day of your life. And it's heartbreaking because it just doesn't need to be that way. But so that's where we're focused. I mean, my foundation of this course is food and what you need to be eating in order to balance and build your hormones. And then we focus on gut healing, because obviously that is really huge as well. A happy gut equals healthy hormones. And then I focus on liver and gallbladder health, because your liver, of course, it's like your garbage disposal, your processor of all hormones. And then we focus on the thyroid, because, of course, your thyroid is completely integrated with how your ovaries function. And almost across the board, women who come to me who are having fertility problems, they then allude to the fact that they've either been on thyroid medication since they were in their teens or 20s, or they've just gone on it and they just discovered a thyroid imbalance. Meanwhile, they've probably had it for a long time. And I'm like, okay, that makes so much sense. And nobody knows the connection. So it's really those things, as well as, reconnecting to your feminine vitality and your femininity is, to me, a really big part of this as well, just because we live in such a masculine world, and we're rewarded for our masculine traits. And so I really focus on those 5 key areas to help women address their hormonal imbalances.
I love it. That's great. And so you've been doing this work one-on-one with clients or patients?
Yes, I have. I have been doing it one-on-one. It's going on 5 years now. Wow. It's been a while. And yeah, so I've been doing it one-on-one and doing group programs. So the group programs have been interspersed throughout the years with the one-on-one coaching.
Great. Now you're just basically taking that, not basically, but taking that or components of that and putting it into the program.
Yeah, exactly. And, everyone has live access to me and things like that. So it's just more of a group basis. And yeah, so I'm just taking my program essentially and turning it into a larger scale program where more women have access.
Yeah. We have to change the world. And the only way to do that is to reach more people. So
exactly. That's the plan.
Good.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I wish you all the best and the luck with the launch of that program. Hopefully it goes well. And I'm a big proponent because you're doing a lot of the same things that we do here on our end. Just you're trying to catch them earlier, which would make my life easier.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I know. Seriously, I'm trying to make people's lives easier for sure.
Good. Any last minute things you want to touch on before we tune out?
I don't think so. I think we've covered it all. I mean, I know I could probably talk about this stuff for hours, and I don't want to bore people. But I want to reiterate the fact that I feel so strongly that women can, be empowered to understand what's happening in their bodies and know what's going on and be their own health advocate. Because I think right now we're very much in a place where we go to the doctor and the doctor tells us what to do, and we do it based on fear or just not knowing. And I want to shift that paradigm. And I think that it's definitely doable, and women can be given more credit for taking ownership of their health.
Absolutely. And, I'll actually expand on that a little bit. I know that the physicians that they're seeing, specifically in this case, usually they're OBGYNs, they're very much dictated by health insurance. So their recommendations, their ability to not only prescribe, but do certain procedures and follow certain protocols is dictated by insurance and what they won't or will do or will allow. So that really, I believe, ties their hands because it doesn't allow them to think outside the box because most people who are going to see them really need their insurance to cover it. And so it's this we are hindered by the current healthcare system and the way that it's run because of the way it dictates the way healthcare providers practice. And so it's unfortunate, but I think that's really contributed to where we are today. And so hopefully women can take control of their own health and not have to be dictated or guided by that.
Agree completely. I know. And when they understand what's happening, they can make decisions that are empowered and informed. And I'm excited to see how we can make that happen more.
Yeah, I agree. So hopefully this will be a little helpful video for everyone out there and get them started or moving in the right direction. And it's January, so hopefully this sets off to a wonderful new year of health goals and regular cycles and balanced hormones.
Totally. So, awesome.
Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. And good luck with everything.